Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this and we're gonna harmonize a melody. Well, we're gonna move on and you guys can write down as I continue. So, I wanna do this as a group first. So, based on that chart, what do you think the first chord should be if this is in G major? It's okay. So, like I told you last time, you usually start with the one chord. So what do you think this should be if your note is G on top? Yeah, so what's G major in the key of G? So we're going to do every note is going to have a chord that goes along with it. And so then what helps me when I write this out, I write out the scale. So that when I'm looking at it, I can be like, oh, A is the second scale degree, and then I can find out what chords correspond to that scale degree. So if we are looking at A has to be in the chord. So what do you think? It can be anything. We can go imaginative here if you'd like. What do you think this chord should be for A? I know what I would do, but what would you guys do? You could say
Not all at once.
You could probably say it's not going to be the second scale degree. That doesn't, like the two chord, right? That doesn't sound like it's going to make any sense. So we'll take 2 out of the picture. So it's not to be A, C, and E. So anything else that has A in it, that would make sense. D, F sharp, and A. Yeah. So what number chord is that? The 5 chord. So is that what everyone else wants to do? Yeah? Does that sound good? Thank you, Jeff. And that's what I had too. So now looking at B, we have to find a chord that has B in it, and it makes sense coming after 5. E minor. So you want to do the 6. So how would you spell the 6th chord? Okay, so now this is the tricky part. We can either stay on the 6th chord or we can change chords. Make it fun. What would you guys, someone besides Jeff, what would you do? Or we can just take out the 6th all together and do something else. This is really where the imagination starts coming into play. Harmony. It could go back to 1. So do you want to do 1, Allie? How would you spell 1 in this case? Okay, now we got a C. So we're on 1, so there's an endless amount of possibilities that we can go to. But we need a chord that has C in it. Somebody, anybody? It could go 4, yeah. That's actually what I had. How would you spell 4 in the key of G? Okay, someone besides Allie or Jeff. What about this A? You could do the what? Okay, so this is a little confusing. The 4 is the one that can go to the 1. The 2 cannot go to 1 because they're right next to each other.
Oh, so we go to 1 other.
Yep.
Okay. So
we had an A back here. Would you want to just use the same chord, or we can use something else? This is Cassie's chord. What would you do? Just go to 5? And can you spell 5 for me in the key of G? And then, what would the last chord be, Beck?
A 1.
A 1?
Yeah, go back.
And how would you spell 1 in the key of G?
GBD.
Yeah.
David, what are you doing over there?
Okay, so this is actually a pretty functional chord progression. I'm not so sure that the 6 really sticks in there very well. But it does make sense because you guys use this, and if you played it on the piano, it would sound pretty, except for maybe the 6, like I just said. That was Jeff's chord. They have. You
That
can
does exist.
scan it into like Sibelius or Finale, and it'll do to the best of its ability the notes, and then you just mix it up.
Like, we take like a picture of it, not just scanning it, 'cause I know the PDF they use is.
I don't know if you can take the picture, but I know you can scan them, and it'll go in there.
They should just like make QR codes for every piece of sheet music. You can just scan it and it gives you the sheet music.
That's actually a good idea.
Do you want me to play the chords in root position?
Yeah, that's fine.
Wonderful.
Really slowly if you really want to. You don't have to play the melody, you can just play the chord progression.
Well, I was just listening to it. It is interesting.
It is a little...
It sounded good the same, the 6 to the 1.
Yeah, so the 6 to the 1 was a little weird.
It sounded good. Actually, that sounded good.
And of course he was just playing them all in root position, so normally you would have like inversions and all this fancy stuff, which I think he's trying to do right now.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, you're right, it doesn't sound bad, but could there be a more functional chord progression?
Yeah.
I think that's an okay question to ask.
So how about we do this over again? It's okay if we have overlap, of course. But how about we try to do something that maybe sounds a little better? I mean, this sounds good, but it's not as good as it could be. So let's try it again. So do we want to start on 1 again? And if we don't want to start on 1, what could we start on? I got 2 for 1. 2 people. Anyone else have an opinion? 3 is
Just
not a
kidding.
good idea.
Just kidding. Yes, let's do it.
Oh my gosh. So we're gonna do 1. Good. What about the next chord? Jeff, do you have an opinion on the next chord?
Do I have an opinion?
That is the question, isn't it? What about you, David? Do you have an opinion? So why don't you think about it? So we have to have an A. Like, it's inevitable. You have to have an A. So out of all of the chords that you can do, some of them don't even have A in it, right? So out of the chords that do have A in it, what can we do?
I wouldn't really be able to do it.
Okay, so we know that G and B are most definitely out of the chord equation. You're not even listening to me. Do I have your attention? Thank you. So we know that G and B cannot be in the chord equation at all because they're right next to it. Are you with me? So A, C, and E, which is the 2 chord we decided. D, F sharp A, which is the 5 chord, which is what we had last time. Or F sharp A, C, which is the 7 chord. Or I can't do E besides the 2 chord. So out of these 3 chords, which one would you choose? And we said the 2 chord doesn't go well with the 1 chord. And have you ever seen a 7 chord used? So
Yeah, but I thought we were trying to change it.
I said we don't have to. There was one problem area.
To be fair, we haven't actually practiced using the 7 chord yet.
Yeah, so that's why I said that.
Well, no, that's fine.
We don't have to change everything. We definitely are gonna try and change this, but we don't have to change everything about it. So you wanna use the 5 chord, Daisy? Yeah. So how about the next chord? Instead of a 6, what should we use?
Well, if you wanted, you could go back to 1.
You could go back to 1. How do you spell 1 in the key of G?
With this.
Yeah, how do you spell 1 in the key of G?
Oh, 1 in the key of G. That's G, B, and D.
Yep. So you could stay on the 1 chord, but that's going to sound pretty boring, right? So how can we change it? It doesn't have to be complex.
Southern.
I mean, but like,
You could do 3.
I mean, technically you could.
I didn't think of 3, but you could definitely do 3. It does. It says right here 1 to 3. So then if you do 1 to 3, where does 3 go next? Either
You could go. Maybe it's 6 or
go to 6 or chord. So in the key with a C, what chord would you have to go to? Okay, and we have a C here. Does the 6 chord have a C? Six, there's an E. Yes. So if the 6 chord has an E, it doesn't have a C in it, does it? So then the 6 chord has to go to, what was your other choice? A 4. Yep. And then you want to keep 5-1, which is pretty functional. Yeah. 4 goes to 5. 5 goes to 1. Mr. Wickham, would you like to play this one too?
Are you
Once I
looking at
change it
band
out.
names?
I was. I'm working on. I'm honestly working on a presentation for something, so I'm listening at the same time. You'll see. 'Cause it's for you. Well, not you specifically, or just
Only for me.
So, do I see this right, that you let Jeff use a 3 chord?
Yes.
I actually wasn't the one. who
Actually,
offered
that
it.
was totally
Cassie.
me.
Jeff was the one.
It says ATV.
No, you don't have to write it up on TV.
Oh.
It's okay
If somebody else uses it,
I'm sorry, I played the wrong note.
There we go.
I'm just that not used to using 3 chords.
interesting.
That was still very
Well,
interesting.
because the reason the 3 works going to the 4 is because the 3 has the leading tone to 4. So that's why those 2 work. And then 7 going to 1, a 3 has a leading tone to a 4, which is why it's technically functional. It acts as A7. But that's a while away. I didn't learn that till college.
Wish the Melly